Oh, wait a second. Okay, there we go. I'm sitting here like, YouTube's a little confusing with this. At least I think I'm. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to hear myself again. What's up, guys? How you doing? Hello, YouTube. This is our first time going live on the big YT, on the big red YT. Wow. I'm sitting here going over the countdown. I'm like, I hit live on the software. I hit live on YouTube. It's telling me I'm not live. It's not showing me chat, but it's showing me chat, but it's saying I'm live, but it's not saying I'm live. And then I look at my phone and I'm not live, and I'm like, what? Come on, YouTube, what's the problem? And so I guess I have to go live on the website and on my software, which is interesting. So what's up, guys? How you doing? This is our first time on YouTube. It's gonna be it already has been a little rough because of that, but I'm sure it won't be smooth the rest of the way. No problem. No problem. We'll go from here and we'll work on it, right? Progress. So today what we're doing, this is very intense music. Can we get something a little calmer up in here? Pedro, can you put something up a little calmer, please? Thank you. Much appreciated. I love that guy, you know? That guy, Pedro. John Paul, how you doing? How's it going, everybody? Thank you for showing up for the first one. Pilot B, Jasper, Nicholas, Jonathan, John Paul, Brazen. What's up, man? Like I said, guys, this is gonna be a basic stream compared to our Twitch streams. We've got everything set up over on Twitch. I don't even have moderators over here yet. So this will definitely be a more basic one, but I was talking about doing this during the week, and I really wanted to do this, you know, chill out with you guys, kick back. I got a drink here. I know for a lot of you it's really early, so you can't be drinking, but hey, a mimosa never hurt anybody. Grab a drink, grab a joint, grab some popcorn, grab whatever you want. We're gonna go do some lore today. We are going to check out the different star systems of, I'm not gonna say that are planned, because who knows if they'll actually get to all this. But we're gonna check out the different star systems. The Pilot B, thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated, man. We're going to take a look at the different ones and actually talk about the Arc Star map. A lot of people don't know about this thing. It's super interesting, and it's actually really useful. While a lot of this stuff will change, you can get a lot of information on kind of what they're going to expect to do with the different star systems in terms of the quantum system. Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. Yeah. Hit that like button to show some love. Much appreciated, John Paul. Thank you. Which systems are on my agenda, guys? That's going to be up to you. I am going to hit my favorite system, which is Ellis. I will hit that, but we're going to start with Stanton, and then we'll take a look at a couple of the systems that I think could come after Stanton and Pyro are done, and then we will go from there and see what's up. Mixer, welcome aboard, mate. Thank you for following. Alrighty, so this is our system, right? This is where we are. For those of you who maybe don't play the game, this is the system that we play in right now. All of these planets are in the game, right? You've got Crusader, which we all know and love, and as you can see, it's got the most detail with all these things floating around it, and all these things are the different space stations that you can go to. So let's see, this is just a space station, but for instance, this one right here is obviously Port Olisar, our home. You get a little blurb about it up here, and that's all cool. That's all good and fun. You're gonna pause Con Air. Yeah, we could look at Synth World. We could do that. Relevant to the election, right? What we don't have yet in the Stanton system, so you see Microtech over here, Hurston, R-Corp, we don't have the jump points, right? So, well, first of all, we don't have, whoops, let's not do that yet. We don't have the Air and Halo Belt, which is big. Now I've actually got on the other tab here, I've got this pulled up so we can actually look at some concept art while we are going about this. So let's go ahead and check out the Stanton system. There we go. Oh, Jasper, you're in for something special. So the Air and Halo Belt is something that we'll actually probably be getting next year, or maybe later than that. I think late next year would be a decent idea for that. And this is basically, there's a giant asteroid belt right here in between. I believe it's ArcCorp and Crusader. Yeah, so you got ArcCorp's orbit here and then Crusader's orbit here. There's this huge asteroid belt in between them, and it has these massive gates that are owned by ArcCorp, so they can kind of control traffic going through there. And I'm not sure what it's going to do for the game. You know, it really could change up the game. It'll be an obvious choke point in terms of traffic. All haulers and everybody will have to go through here, but I think it'll also create an interesting drive to get players to get creative about avoiding it or going around it, or maybe paying a ferrying service to get their ship through it without actually flying. Who knows? I'm really interested to see how they implement this, because I think it's a huge wild card in terms of this system that we pretty much know from the inside out at this point. The Air and Halo Belt could really change things. So, thank you, John Paul. Thank you. Had to start streaming when you had to leave for a bit. Ah, Jasper. Well, we'll be on for a couple hours, so I hope you can get back in by that point. But if you do want to see when these streams are going to happen, make sure to check them out on Discord. We got a schedule up now for streams, and we'll be, you know, playing around with it and adding stuff as we go. Gastech and Orison will fill out the rest of Crusader. Yeah. So you got the system as we know it, plus Air and Halo Belt. But then you've got the jump points. Now this is interesting. You got a jump point for Pyro, which is right here. They have it kind of centered in the system, but then way over here, outside of all the planet's orbits, you got this Terra jump point. For those of you who don't know Terra, oh boy. Terra is essentially, in my opinion, the capital of the UEE. Okay, you can crucify me all you want, but let's be real. Terra is where it's at. Let me see if I can pull up a couple concept art shots for you guys. You may have seen a couple of these pictures. So this is Terra Prime, the main landing zone on Terra. And as you can see, this is going to be a hell of a challenge for them to make. I mean, you've got waterways, you've got bridges, you've got a huge spaceport, essentially a big city, and there are multiple parts to just this city. There are 3 places, and there's Seoul is the capital. If you haven't seen my video on the landing zones of the UEE, go check that out. It's got a detailed explanation of Terra and Prime and how many different parts of the city there actually is. And I'll be interested once again in seeing what they do there. And you can see here, this is an early work in progress. This is really old, so probably none of these assets will ever be used again. But I'm sure this is what they'll keep this around, you know, for flavor, just to give them an idea of what they were looking at. But it looked kind of like Coruscant, right? Couple random tips. Recommend swapping the old ad block to uBlock Origin. Can lose the browser frame by tapping F11. I actually had the browser frame gone, but since I was switching back and forth between the wiki and the star map, I didn't want to keep F11ing out. I have to use F11 all the time when I'm recording my web browser for my YouTube videos, so I'm used to it. And I have other tabs open, so I didn't want to flick through them with the Alt or Windows tab, I believe it is. So anyways, that's Terra, right? But let's talk a little bit more about all of the stuff that's around us here. Yeah, let's back up a little bit here. So anybody who hasn't looked at this map, here's where you can get a nice shot of the ridiculous web of star systems that makes up Star Citizen. Holy crap. There's a lot going on. There's a ton going on. So let's start super basic. Yeah, let's turn off all these filters, all of these filters, and let's say we want to look at, and you can do this yourself. All you have to do is go to the RSI website, hit up the apps, go to the Arc Star map, and you can look at this at any point. I use this a lot when I'm doing my research for videos. Very, very useful. Control tab, that's right. Yeah, I don't want you guys to see the other tabs I have open. So let's look at UEE systems. They are fairly spread apart, but there's a very clear divide. So we turn on the Vandual systems, and you can see that there's a very clear divide between the Vandual and the UEE. UEE is all over here, and the Vandual is all over here, and that's by design. But then you get these other factions. You get the Geon, which honestly they are kind of over. Let's go 2D for now. The Geon are kind of over in this corner. They actually don't have that many systems, but they're all sort of speckled throughout this corner. And because we had sort of a Cold War. Hey, the Ek, how you doing? Because you had a Cold War between the humans and Geon, and so there was this, oh god, what is the name of the line? Perry line. There's a Perry line of systems through here that are a completely different type of human system, because they were on the front lines of this Cold War. They have a different sort of culture and philosophy, and you can go and look at the history of each of these systems and kind of get a lot more background on what happened there. Now, besides that, get rid of the Geon here. You also have the Banu. Banu, I believe, have even less systems than the Geon, and those are kind of spread out on the opposite side from the Geon a little bit. So the closest to Geon and Banu systems are Kins and the Kyokya system, I guess. And so the humans are kind of a midpoint between them, right? I mean, you could guess that when all the species meet up, they would do so in human space. But that is yet really to be spoken about in too much detail yet. As far as I'm concerned, there might be some conversation about that, but I'm not sure. And that brings me to the next point. So yeah, the navigation animation is really cool, and we'll do that in just a second when we start hopping into the other systems here. But first, I wanted to talk about my next point, which was basically how you travel between these systems. So as you guys know, we're gonna have a lot of systems. The whole old goal was 100 systems. This was back when they were a lot less detailed. The planets weren't all procedural and all this stuff. Who knows if they're gonna get there? I personally think it's gonna be like at least 15 to 20 years before they do that. I also don't think that we need 100 systems for a full game. I think we could probably have a full game with less than 20. I have no problem with having 5 systems and doing everything I need to do and seeing them add them as they go over the next couple decades if the game lasts that long. That being said, we have to have a way to travel between them. These are the jump points that were shown at CitizenCon last year. You have 3 different sizes of jump points. You have small, medium, and large. These are small. So when you pick your ship in Star Citizen, yes, you're looking at weapons, you're looking at your shields, your hard points, all the stuff that you think is very important to your ship is important, but also a lot of people don't realize size is quite important when you consider your occupation and what you want to do, how much you want to travel, where you want to go. So let's say you want to travel from Stanton, I don't know, to Seoul, right? You want to go from Hurston to Earth. Well, if you have, say, a large ship, looks like you're all good. right? So you can leave Stanton. Where is Earth? Where is Sol? Not too far from Stanton. Stanton. Let's just say you're going to... Oh, no. Okay, let's say Hurston to Earth. You can search the point, the route that you're going to take. Oh, I see. You can only you can only follow it through the jump points on the other side of Cano. Be more towards the center, right? Oh, I'm missing it. I know it's like on the screen and I just am missing it. Elysium. East Cano. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so they highlight the route. I'm dumb. They were highlighting the route for me. So, looking at this, let's back out of the route now. So you're gonna go from Stanton to Sol. There we go. Okay. Having some trouble there with the map. So let's say you want to go to Stanton to Sol and you had a small ship. Or let's say you want to go from Stanton to Sol and you had a large ship. It looks like it's doable, right? Because you can just jump all the way through here, go up this way. Looks like you'll take the route from Killian to Davian, Davian to Sol. You're all good. But what if you wanted to get to Redder? This system right here. And you wanted to go from Stanton right here, Redder right here, and you had a large ship. You can't do that. In fact, it doesn't even look like you can do it with a small ship. That's just not going to be a fun trip either way. Let's pick another one. Let's take a look from... Okay, let's say Hadrian to Pyro. Let's say you're a pirate and you're on the run and you want to go from this system right here. This is called Hadrian. And you want to go all the way down to Pyro because you got a boy in Pyro who just robbed a Hurston Dynamics shipment, and they got a bunch of awesome weapons that you can go sell in Castra. But first you need to make your way to Pyro. If you have a large ship, let's say you've got a, I don't know, a Kraken, just strolling around systems in your Kraken, you got to jump all the way up to Castra first. You have to, basically you got to go from Hadrian, fly all the way across the system to the Castra jump point, fly through the Castra jump point, end up in Castra, and you came from here, and then you got to fly all the way across the system to the Castra Pyro jump point, fly through that jump point, and then you're in Pyro, right? So let's call that a freaking... Exactly. It definitely adds to the strategic value of having a small ship. So let's say instead you have a, I don't know, a Mercury Star Runner. Is that considered a medium ship? That might be medium. I gotta double check on that. Let's say you have a 115 or a 315P, I believe it is. Origin 315. Now you have the jump point directly from Hadrian to Pyro. Simple. Fly to the Hadrian Pyro jump point. Boom, boom. You go right through. And then you're in Pyro. And that's a very simplified point, right? That's such a simple version of what we're talking about here. I mean, you look at the different jump points that only fit small ships. Or rather, I'm sorry, you look at the different jump points that only fit large ships, and there's a lot of connections missing here. I'm sure there's got to be one or two systems here that literally you can't. Look at this. Look at these Geon systems aren't even accessible by large ships. So there are some systems where if you buy a ship in that system, you're stuck there. So these systems are uncontested, these ones you see with the orange circles on them. Uranus. And another thing, hey Red Solstice, how you doing? Small ship. I thought all ships could use system jump points that were larger than they were. Almost makes sense for you to have a large ship with a small ship in it. Yeah, exactly. You want a small ship so you can do all your exploration. A large ship is generally something that you want to probably keep in system, to be honest, unless it's dedicated for exploration or transportation or something like that. Like if you have a large ship that's sort of just your home base, you might just want to keep that in one system, you know? Here we go, Helios. I think that one might actually be cut off. There's one system in lore, and this is planned to happen in the future. So these jump points are unstable. Some of these jump points are unstable. They can collapse, and a system can be essentially cut off from everything else. It's a huge event. It probably won't happen often, but it is possible that it could happen. And it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think Pilot B will get more discussion about which ships can go through which jump points. Once they actually, honestly, they'll probably have a big video about jump points next year before Pyro comes online. Because as they're creating it for Pyro, they really need to first understand exactly what they want to do. They probably have an internal design doc and they're working on it right now as we speak and getting everything set up for how jump points are going to work exactly. Now, let's talk about what's going to come next after Stanton. I mean, we already know it's Pyro, right? So, I believe that's a... Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Pyro to Stanton does not allow large ships. At least as far as this is concerned. They very well may change that, but it looks like medium ships and... Well, we'll have to see if small ships can fit through medium jump points. I believe they should be able to, but I won't say that's law. But it looks like large ships cannot make the first jump in the game. That probably won't go over well, so I think they might retcon that and change it up and make it so that large ships can get to Pyro, just because that's the only other system we'll have. But it's very interesting. Hey Skullface, how you doing? How you doing, man? What's up? So let's make the jump to Pyro. Yeah, now if you've been following my videos, I've been talking about the monthly reports and the progress they've been making on Pyro. They've completed Pyro 1, 2, and 3, and I believe Pyro 4. But Pyro 5... Whoa. Johnny Crane, thanks for the subscription, buddy. Welcome aboard. Pyro 5 is actually... has captured Pyro 4 in its orbit. And it's a giant gas giant. A giant gas giant. That's giant. Jumping away. There we go. So Pyro 4 is a massive yellow and green gas giant that's slowly pulling Pyro 5 is the gas giant slowly pulling Pyro 4 into its orbit. So they've completed basically every planet. They're working on the finishing touches of Pyro 6, at least in terms of the planet tech. Not everything, just the planet tech. For Pyro 6 way out here. The only thing that they won't have done really by probably the beginning of next year is going to be Pyro 5, because it's a gas giant. And it needs that information, or it needs that gas technology to work before they can put it in. You'd assume Nyx after Pyro. Well, let's talk about that. So they have a couple options branching out from Pyro once they finish the Pyro and Crusader system, and honestly I think we're getting Pyro next year, right? So if we're getting Pyro next year and they haven't finished Crusader yet, then we can assume that they must be starting at least in the concepting phase on the next system, right? And there are a couple possibilities. So if you look at Stanton, or if you look at Pyro and look at the jump points, you have Oso, Nyx, Castra, Terra, and Hadrian. There are a lot of systems coming off of Pyro that we could look forward to. Now let's back up. Let's go to Stanton. If you look at Stanton, you have Terra, Magnus, and Pyro. So the only system that they have in common is Terra, right? But we just looked at Terra, and Terra is going to be ridiculously difficult to make. But if we do go and jump to Nyx, and we look at Nyx jumping points, I believe I may be wrong here. I thought Nyx might jump to Magnus as well. No, it does not. Magnus goes in the other direction. So it's really up in the air. Nyx obviously has Delamar, and that's probably a big reason why people are gonna expect that system. I expect that system. Delamar is a planetoid in the Stanton system currently. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be in Nyx. It's the main landing zone in the Nyx system, and it's kind of I think the only landing zone in Nyx system. I don't believe Nyx 1 has anything on it. No, it's not habitable. It's a coreless world, and it's been mined clean. So that leaves Nyx in a large way already pretty close to being finished. They will redo Delamar, I have no doubt. There's a lot of tech that's been created since they created Delamar, and they'll have to update it, but it does take away a lot of the work they would need to do. Now, the other option would be Magnus. Magnus is a pretty basic system, except for Borea. Borea, I believe, has Drake Interplanetary headquarters on it. I'm sure Drazen will be happy to hear that. Hey, Maker Gamer, what's up, man? So yeah, the former home of the UEE's shipbuilding facilities until they moved to Killian, Borea suffered an economic depression for decades. Things have recently begun to improve with the ship manufacturer Drake Interplanetary decisions to be headquartered on the planet. So Borea is an important planet. And the magnet system overall, I believe, has 3 planets? 3 planets, only one of them being habitable, which makes it kind of an interesting place. Magnus is where your character will start at launch. Why is that? You just like the system? Now, bear with me here. This is completely out of left field, and I don't think this is going to happen. But imagine if they finished Magnus, and they went to Ellis. Ellis is my favorite system, and you'll soon see why. Besides the fact that it's probably one of the most difficult systems for them to make, because it's got like so many planets. Oh, it's got so many planets. The planets are also incredibly beautiful. What planet is the Dune word from? That is from Lear. Lear 3. And we can actually check that out. See if we can find Lear real quick. I don't want to bookmark it. I want to go there. So this is where your sandworm, the big boy, is from. Right here. A rocky planet full of graphite and crystals. Though it has resources, there are no permanent settlements. Interestingly enough, it says not habitable. But I'm pretty sure they had like blue skies and everything in that video. So that's weird. Any thoughts on when they will remove Delamar from Stanton? You figured they would have it done by now for performance reasons. I think probably maybe when we get Pyro, most likely when we get Nyx. I think they'll probably, actually no, probably before we get Nyx, because they'll probably take it out of Stanton, work it down, figure it out, and then put it into Nyx. Why don't I do commercials with that voice? Nobody's hired me. Nobody's asked. This decision is settled on for no reason. Okay, cool. What's up, Zentrify? How you doing? Worms before whales? Well, sir, that depends if you like segmenty bits or blowhorny bits. What is that planet called? That was Lear 3. New Squadron 42. Oh boy, hey, do you guys want to watch the briefing room? Would you guys be down for that? We can put this on hold for a little while and check out what the briefing room's, what's going on with the briefing room. Y'all gonna see what my YouTube suggested pages looks like. Oh god, it's an hour long. What do you guys say? You guys want to catch up on some Squadron 42 information? They got a briefing room introduction, and then they got the briefing room episode 1. Let's do it, guys. Let's watch. Turn off the music. Let's have a little watching party here. Do you mind if I do my commentary, or would you guys prefer to watch it with no Space Tomato?
From the very start, Chris's remit was he wanted it believable.
The whole focus, obviously, is just on maximum immersion.
A lot of assets are kind of unique, and the locations are unique. Everything really is different.
Welcome to the briefing room, a show fully focused on Squadron 42. I'm Brian Chambers, the VP of Development here at CIG, and today I'm joined by Nick and Ross, so welcome guys. Good to have you on the call. Can you guys introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure, yep, I'm Nick.
This has definitely got that, like, polish that they said they wanted to do for the Squadron 42 video. Gosh, why did they have to edit it so much? We don't need that.
It's a little complex on the design side. Can you give a high-level breakdown of the design team and how that's made up for Squadron?
The Squadron 42 design team split into three, actually. It's three teams that work very closely with each other. First being Ross's team, the FPS team, which works predominantly on the ground and gravity base areas where combat and exploration are a focus.
All the pew-pews. All the pew-pews?
Yes, that's all the pew-pew stuff is down to Ross.
Cool.
The flight team work on the sort of space sections of the game, as you might expect. That includes like dogfighting, exploration, landing.
Sorry about that.
You know, all those kind of stuff. Obviously, working very closely with the various AI feature teams as well. And then finally, we've got the social team, and they're kind of the glue for all the narrative elements of the game. You know, building.
I just lost Google Chrome. What is going on?
You know, focus on maximum immersion, as you know, as Chris has sort of called out.
There we go. That was weird.
The social team's been everyone's been busy, but the social team I know has put a lot of effort into how you're interacting with. Yeah. Absolutely,
and hopefully we'll hear a bit about that later on. But they've had a lot of new tech and things recently to support them, which has been great.
Awesome. So Ross, I know you and the team made some really good progress on Asiato recently. I keep seeing the updates and hearing more and more. So I know we gave you some advance notice and you prepped some stuff to show off. So I thought maybe you could jump into it and let's see what you got.
Sure, let's take a look. This is a decommissioned communication station which is set inside the Odin system, which is where 90% of episode 1 takes place. We actually visit this location very early on in the game, and it's probably one of the first times the player gets to kind of be let loose essentially and kind of have a bit of freedom. And for this reason, we've decided to basically keep this station quite small. It's actually one of the smallest locations we visit in the entire game. Not to say that it is small, because we'll show a little bit more of that in a little bit.
Look forward to it. Let's dig in.
So one of the first things we started when looking at Asiato is we wanted to kind of establish its identity. So as you can see here, this is a very early kind of block out of the exterior, which as you can see looks like a satellite dish. And this was something that actually came up in one of the early meetings, and part of this was because it gives us that kind of recognizable shape. The other benefit of it, as I've kind of mentioned, is Asiato is a very early section in the game. we wanted the player to kind of have this kind of sandboxy kind of approach. One of the things that this really helps us do is the cylindrical shape means that we can kind of approach it at any angle. So once we'd basically kind of finished like planning what the kind of shape was and what the style of the facility was, we basically started focusing on the interior section. And one of the things that's really important to us as when we're designing these levels is the functionality and the believability of the space. So even though we are a sci-fi game, we're obviously trying to make these spaces like seem as realistic as possible, and one of the ways we do that is we look at a lot of locations in real world spaces and kind of try to find the identity of what this would be, and then basically kind of convert that. Obviously we kind of take some kind of creative license for certain things and kind of change things up a little bit and add like more sci-fi kind of architecture to things, but it's still very much about the believability and the functionality, which we'll kind of dig down into a little bit more. So the first thing that we actually started looking at was kind of the main functionality of the space, and as we kind of said, it's a decommissioned communication center, so mission control was kind of like a key area for this space. So you can see on this map we've kind of got like a few of the different locations kind of called out, and what we kind of did is we kind of focused on the key areas first, and then once we kind of established those, we started to kind of figure out what other spaces would be in here. So obviously we've kind of got this nice skywalk that kind of goes around part way, and again this kind of like brings us back to the whole trying to encourage the player to be able to go and explore this space in different directions. So you can obviously come
Asiago.
Entrances.
The bagel.
Sometimes you could go left, sometimes you go right, you can go through the middle, you can go up to the higher floors, down into the basement. And you can actually see we have a few different shots of this for basically different floors of the station. And then we basically come to looking at some of the other areas that were initially less important to the space, but we felt would really help with the identity. So this, for example, is an early kind of blockout screenshot of the habitation area. So the idea
hungry, man.
Here, this would actually be like where the kind of habitation pods are stored, and you can imagine it almost like I guess like a beehive, where it's basically these things are kind of plugged into the sides, and each person.
Give me 1 second, guys. I just want to see why that we don't keep having this issue. I want to see why I keeps dropping you guys. Stand by. Sorry.
And kind of lives inside one of these, and I'm just kind of looking actually if. No, so we've got some. This is
it's so weird. I don't understand why it keeps doing that.
The habitation section, but actually on the outside to the more kind of living quarters. And again, this is just another shot from there. Yep. So the thing I was actually looking for, and I'll come back to a couple of these in a second, I suppose. But was actually these are the habitation pods basically. So if you imagine back on that previous shot, this is actually what would be kind of fixed into those locations. So if I kind of click back to it a second, you can kind of see that these would nicely fit into these locations.
And
Jesus, it's like a jail.
well, isn't it? You can add another one underneath if you had more need for habitation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and again, that's the kind of idea of us kind of drilling down into the functionality of these spaces is that this is kind of interchangeable, and we can kind of like if this space suddenly needed like more personnel to come and work there, they could basically extend the size of this quite easily.
It's like everything started, and it's all sort of fully realised. You know, all the locations and things. They're not just a straight sort of shooter map.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we're kind of driving at, is that a lot of what we want to do in Squadron is have a lot of kind of exploration and kind of feel like you're basically behaving how you would behave in these locations, as opposed to just, this is a game. I'm obviously going to go in, kill some guys, and kind of get to the objective. Like I'm just going down a corridor. I'm looking for where the objective marker is taking me. We really wanted to so players can kind of start to explore these spaces and kind of see how people were living.
As you guys are blocking the spaces out, do you guys, once you get it in that rough state, are you actually going in an editor and running around in it to see how it feels at as far as scale and distances and so on at that point?
Yes, so we're doing that all the time. So despite like kind of what we're saying is obviously function is a very important thing for us in these blockouts. Another aspect is obviously making sure that it still feels good to kind of traverse, and that we're kind of sticking to all the metrics and stuff, because the last thing we want is to kind of have it make lots of sense, but then not be enjoyable. So it's always like kind of, it takes a lot of time to kind of get that nice balance.
Yeah, and I guess another cog in that balance too is, you know, we have an idea of what intended gameplay could be there, right? Because there's not always a straight line. It's not always we need you to do A or B. You could do a multitude of things to get through in what you need, but you also have to think about the layout and the design and what that gameplay means and the choices the player can make. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've also got, you know, things that the stimulus that the AI are going to react to anything as well in here. So if you're in an area where there's no lights, you suddenly switch the lights on, then, you know, you could draw the attention of the AI. And all that kind of stuff is planned at this stage as well.
Yeah, and that's something we can kind of dig into in a little bit, where we basically talk about how we want
Aren't people who like lights
to be interactive as possible. So we basically you're going through them and you see like terminals and consoles. You should be able to kind of interact with them and kind of, you know, read the stuff in there, or you know, obviously a lot of the things are going to be kind of physicalized in there, so you can kind of pick them up, throw them around, move them about, do that sort of thing. And all those again will kind of feed back into the kind of sandbox nature of the game. So, you know, like if there's enemies in these spaces, you can actually use them to kind of distract enemies, or, you know, even use them as cover and that sort of thing. So
stealth kill and drag the body away, so you don't get seen.
Yeah. So this screenshot we're currently on, again, is just kind of covering some of the high-level blockout stuff. Is just us kind of showing that we've kind of got this like skywalk that goes around the outside, and then we also kind of have like the routes into the central section, which is where the mission control is, and the server racks and the gravity drive. But we're also kind of thinking about other ways that the player can kind of go into these locations. So this just kind of shows, as you can see, we've got like these little storage rooms on the side that lead between, but we've also kind of got these like ventilation systems that feed around the station, and the player can actually go into these and then kind of, you know, get like visibility on other areas and kind of, again, kind of promote a little bit more stealth gameplay if they want to kind of take
some alien isolation vibes.
Tell me too that not all of, you know, those traversal points may be straight in the player's face, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we do actually have some that are kind of like effectively what is our like main route, or what we kind of craft as our kind of like what we call a golden path. But the idea being that there are kind of like lots of routes, and we like the idea that, you know, a lot of players won't even know some of these exist until they either see a video online or someone else, you know, accidentally stumbles across something. And that's what we want to kind of put into these levels, is as much kind of variety and kind of stuff that kind of keeps figuring out and like learning new things as you're kind of playing it, and again giving more kind of replay options. Cool. So moving on to some of the next images we have.
Ooh, yeah, doors.
We basically started to get art a lot more involved. So we'd established what the kind of space was, what the point of it was. We obviously know what the intended kind of gameplay is for this space.
Love myself a good door.
We kind of talk to art and kind of say like, this is what we want. How do we kind of portray that? So here you can see like one screenshot, like a kind of piece of concept art. You can obviously see like a few different doors, and why this is obviously important is because it also kind of gives us the identity and the architecture of the space, which aside from the obvious, from the branding perspective, we also do this because the architecture will obviously play an important part in the blockout as well. So if the walls aren't straight, for example, that obviously affects lines of sight, that you know, the kind of how you kind of feed into different routes.
In the door affects things as well.
Exactly, yeah. So you can just kind of see the two here.
To that point, I've actually found that it's incredibly interesting when you look at different levels and different manufacturers and so on throughout the game.
What do you mean, what's so exciting about doors?
And the style, right?
You don't know what's exciting about doors, then you've never walked through one.
Feel within certain areas, which then lends itself to even certain types of gameplay and so on. So it's cool to see the spread that's out there and the level of detail and attention that's put to each thing, even like, you know, the Habs architecture matching, you know, the doors and so on.
I was going to say, it's interesting, you know, that Asteroid, it also sort of manufactures some of the comms relays in the Odin system as well, and you kind of got that architecture echoing through those, obviously in a sort of scaled down state, because those things are largely unmanned apart from, you know, the odd engineer. So yeah, like you said, you know, the manufacturers play a big part in this.
And it sounds like this episode is basically all about this space station.
Because, like, for example, with Asiado, it's obviously a cylindrical shape. So what this also means is, like, what you can do in the game is you can obviously go to a terminal and you can actually download map schematics to your Mobiglass.
Walking through doors is almost as life-changing as walking into one while it's closed.
To do that, you obviously want to kind of encourage like little kind of things in the environment that encourage the player to kind of figure out where to go, or kind of, you know, try and figure out where they are in the space. So having this kind of cylindrical shape,
it's all about a door handle.
Like the left wall or the inside wall is always the smaller of the two. That certainly helps us kind of like establish this sort of stuff. And when we also look at the branding as well, we actually have several locations across the game where they are, you know, kind of like they're different locations, but they're branded by the same kind of company. So it helps us kind of identify certain elements as well, and kind of give like level of familiarity to certain things. So here we just have some more concepts, this time of the kind of the controls and the terminals, like again with Asteroid being a communication center, the mission control stuff was very important to us, so this was one of the very early kind of concepts that we did. Here you can start to see like very early 3D versions of them, which were actually placed into our environments, and this is kind of like somewhere between like early white box and kind of moving towards like having their first pass on the space. Again, you can just kind of see a bit more of this. You can clearly see obviously the lighting outside has had a bit more attention at this point. Again, a few more consoles.
It definitely seems incredibly retro-futuristic.
Actual space.
Hey, was that tape?
And then here we can kind of see that once we've kind of established kind of like the main kind of architecture for certain things, one of the things Art will go away and do is start to kind of build like kit pieces, what you can see here. So these are like essentially pieces.
I guess what they're going for with this station is the fact that it's incredibly old in terms of Star Citizen's history. So they're like, oh, it's like if it was old today. But I mean, it's cool. I like it. I'm totally fine with them taking cues from current styles.
The shape and the architecture as much as possible very early on. But once Art kind of come in and give us that initial pass,
yeah, they look like tape reels, right?
Like the shape and the identity of the space really come to life, basically. So finally, we have this this comparison that kind of shows like blockouts of the initial space, and then ultimately what they've turned into in the final version, or at least our final Art pass. As you can see in some of these sections, the final art is very true to the original blockout, which is obviously something we tried to do, because once it's in blockout, we're obviously testing it a lot. We're kind of playing certain areas and seeing if things work, puzzles kind of make sense. So kind of trying to trace over that as much as possible is quite an important factor for us, because we can kind of get a good feeling for how it's going to play before we kind of sink too much art and resource time into the final version. So yeah, you can kind of see here that this, up until this point, is very kind of close to what we actually had.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing the main shapes, if you will, still exist, and then with that next pass, getting that further level of detail, you get more of the visual identity that's in there. You get more of the sense of how the space will feel, per se, with adding color and lighting and atmosphere and so on.
Exactly.
I mean, we have super regular syncs with the art guys, obviously. The designers work sort of very closely with the art team.
Yeah, and the again, like the lighting plays a huge part. Like, so in some cases, these are actually, there's not much more art in detail.
Copying from Stack Overflow. My man knows.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So something you can kind of see in like the second half of this video actually is that not all locations are kind of like as true to the blockout in the final version. And part of this is because for one reason or another,
I love this styling.
We've just felt that it wasn't quite right, and we've wanted to kind of change it and address certain features. So you can see here, for example, the initial blockout space was quite wide, and we wanted to kind of funnel the player.
Star Wars, yeah. I'm also getting some Mass Effect vibes from this stuff.
Use more of a kind of stealthy approach if they wanted to enter.
I mean,
the
obviously
space,
Citadel vibes on the station, but
and again, you can kind of see that this space is quite claustrophobic, quite mechanical heavy, and then in the final version, we've opened it up to kind of have like the light from outside kind of filter in a little bit more and just kind of make it a bit more breathable, basically.
Now, when some of those decisions are made, then I know it's an iterative process, but it's about getting in and reviewing and understanding what the main goals are, and looking at
sniping through the vents.
And
Hey, they're just standing around the dead bodies.
All those things coming together.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's a large combination of it, and in some cases, as I said, it's kind of gameplay driven, and the fact that it's like, oh well, this doesn't actually work for what we hoped, in which case we'll go in and we'll change it. And in other cases, it's just we've blocked something out, and it, like, again, when we're kind of doing it very early on, like the art guys have gone in there, they've obviously got a lot more reference material and stuff, so there'll be some cases where like a shape just doesn't quite work for a believable space, and in those cases we basically say, okay, well, we need to change the layout a little bit to kind of accommodate.
Yeah, narratively, we pretty much cater for what the player does as well. So if the player goes in there all guns blazing, then the whole base is going to be on alert. If you go stealthy, then maybe you get to pick up bits of information here and there, especially if you're in like a.
This is a lot of detail, but I mean,
like that.
No, that's really
for the
cool
people who
seeing,
want a lot of detail.
it gives everyone a glimpse of kind of the history of it, right? And
Like,
I do remember seeing early sketches.
my friend doesn't want to watch the Night City Wire videos for Cyberpunk because they're just like, I don't want all that.
First satellite image that you showed.
Yeah, so I think obviously we've kind of shown a little bit of the kind of early stuff, so I think what we can actually do now is bring up the level in the editor. Okay, so this is basically Asiado inside.
We're not
the
even
editor,
a quarter of the way through.
It's based in the Odin system. We've got
what else they're gonna do?
The coil over here, and again you can kind of see as we kind of approach it a little bit more the kind of satellite dish style that we were going for. So right now the petals are kind of like tucked into each other, but I believe these can all actually fold out.
Wait, are we going in live?
We're going in live, yeah.
We're going in live, okay. Hold on, Nick.
Anything could happen.
No, that's cool.
So,
Well, we're not live. You guys could just
one of the things
reshoot.
before I actually drop into the actual lower levels is I wanted to kind of show a little bit of the on the top of the dish essentially. So something we'll kind of get into in a little bit in a minute is the
They just mentioned this is like right outside the coil.
We've kind of designed are on the underside of the dish, and this was a kind of conscious choice that we made because I believe in the blockout video we showed slightly earlier, we actually had like this crow's nest, for example, with a hidden entrance in the top that would allow you to come down, but we felt it was just a little bit too obscure and a little bit out of the way, so we basically removed it and kind of changed that location.
Even this spire thing coming out the middle is like
kind of
the Citadel from Mass Effect.
This location is basically you could actually get out of your ship at this point. You
On a
could
second, guys.
EVA up close to these windows, and you would actually see like the AI kind of walking around in here, and you could kind of move around, plot kind of where some of these enemies are, and then just basically figure out how you're going to tackle this situation. You could do that, yeah.
Show a little happy face if it's foggy outside,
Yep.
Yeah. Just breathe on the glass and then dive because you realise you've not got your helmet on. So the main kind of aspect of this is the underside essentially of Asiado. So you can kind of again see the sort of circular nature of the shape of the space, and again, the player has kind of like, they can get out of their ship, they can fly their ship around here, they have like full freedom to kind of explore this place as they want to. One of the things we wanted to kind of do is have like a few kind of key entrances. So the thing that we will kind of call out as part of the mission flow is the hangar, and that's kind of like what we're kind of drafting as the main entrance into this space, and that's also how typically people using this space would enter and exit this area. But we also have a couple of extra...
Maybe not the best route if you're going to go the stealth way.
No, well, exactly, yeah. So obviously when we kind of go into the hangar, we would have kind of enemies,
What I miss?
like characters in there, just kind of loading up vehicles and kind of like flying them in and out.
Yeah, this is the briefing room
if you're
for
trying to avoid being
Furious
kind of
Sky.
spotted in this space, then, like I said, going into the hangar isn't really a good option.
Yeah.
So one of the locations we actually do have, and I'll slow down the movement a little bit, is this. So as I kind of mentioned previously, we have we had the crow's nest, which didn't really work, especially because it was so long. So we actually now have this kind of mini, I suppose it's like a reverse crow's nest, but you can actually fly up here, and again you kind of like a little door. Come inside. We have an airlock.
An
so
EVA. You're spacewalking, aren't you? At that point, you've left your ship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this would all be an EVA.
We've got
You would
home.
come into here. You would cycle the air and the gravity. At this point, you could kind of then enter into this space, which basically brings us into the server room. So we'll come back to this space, but for now, I wanted to kind of zoom back out. and I wanted to show the habitation area. So when we were kind of looking at the blockout images before, you could kind of see this sort of space, and like I said, the kind of honeycomb beehive shape. If we kind of fly in, again, I'll lower my movement. We kind of look down into this space now. You can kind of see that it's obviously all.
You guys want to stick to this or go back to the star map?
And there's a bunch of these that are kind of, some are closed and kind of sealed up for the outside, so that they're saying that there may not be habitation pods attached at this point, but additional ones could be added at any time, and then the doors are opened up. And then we also have some that are actually in here, and we actually have, you know, like people starting to kind of have like their personal effects and so on, and we can kind of see if we zoom in a little bit, let's try and get the camera up nice and close. You can kind of see almost like people's kind of like staff rotors and stuff, and to an extent, like
meals on the side.
Yep. So,
but it is.
again,
I mean,
like,
it's a good thing to point out to to that level. You know, we build things that have functionality, right? So as you guys are building this from the ground up, you know, these the screens, the consoles, and so on, they serve a purpose. They majority of them can be interactable. You know, they'll be.
Can we do a vote in the chat? Yeah. Honestly, I don't.
Everything. I mean, like the gravity room that
so.
Ross sort of touched on before. You know, any structure like this, it's got gravity in it. It'll have a
do
generator.
A 1 in chat to go
potentially
back and
down,
a 0 in chat to stay.
And cause an effect. It's like everything in the game. You know, it's all sort of based on you know, a sort of reality that we have for Star Citizen.
Yeah, we've even got like post-it notes in there. You know, maybe these are like codes for lock safes or something that we have lying around, or maybe they're just.
You know, that's some like artist's personal pin code or hidden message, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's do my internet real quick.
Secret Morse code. So now I just have to try and remember which is the right door out of here. So I think it's this one. Yep. So this.
Oh, what did I say to leave? One.
The main kind of living quarters of the station. So again, like they would kind of sleep in those pods and.
Gotta put a bunch of .5s, a bunch of maybes.
And kind of have like meals and stuff in other areas, because as you can kind of tell the.
All right, let's jump back to the star map. Yeah.
Big. Maybe
we can watch this later. I did tell you guys I was going to give you a specific type of shell. You're not looking for Robert Pattinson, sorry. Alrighty, if you wanted to know, this is how you get back to the star map, by the way. Just happened. Alrighty, so that's interesting. They're talking about the station. I wonder if they're gonna just focus on the station for the entire thing. We're switching over to the wired connection right now, so everything's running a little slow.
Tough, but for the most part I would kind of expect people to kind of come into these mess halls, and again you can start to see that, you know, as you said, kind of half-eaten meals, or kind of people have been prepping stuff and it's been kind of abandoned. So
there's
one
no
of the things,
table with blood on it from a xenomorph or anything that's come out of anyone's chest or anything.
This looks super alien.
nothing like that just yet, but
not yet.
You never know.
I'm not loading.
And one of the things, like right now, obviously a lot of these props are just kind of like placed in there, but we imagine that when players kind of come into these spaces, that a lot of these things will be kind of physicalized, and you can actually pick them up, obviously, throw things around the room. There'll obviously be certain things to kind of interact with, things to read. You can kind of see over here, like people have been playing cards. I'm sure you can obviously pick the cards up and...
That was weird. Oh, it's only the... There we go. Okay. God. Okay, so we're getting back to where we were. And where were we, guys? I actually don't remember. Wonder if you'll get a new ship introduced today. Honestly, I kind of hope not. We'll see. Oh, we were talking about Ellis. That's right. So who knows about Ellis? Check this out. If you've seen the 890 jump video, then you've seen Ellis. Those like paradise looking places. Yeah, that's Ellis. Or the what was it? The racing course in the game. That's also Ellis. This course here, that's Ellis as well. Ellis is just considered to be an incredibly beautiful system with a ton of freaking planets and a lot going on. So I want to go there. That's my own favorite system. That's where I'm hoping they're working towards, but I doubt it. You think after Pyro we will be ready for Terra? We were talking about that earlier. We were talking about the connection between that both the Pyro and Stanton system have Terra, but I think we kind of settled on Nyx. That just seems most likely. It'll be the least amount of work for them. They probably can already start working it out. Who did I vote for in the election? I haven't voted yet. I have not voted yet. Been awake all day and I haven't done my my stuff to figure out who I want to vote for. But I will soon enough. So we've got an asteroid ring. We've got 2 asteroid rings. We've got Delamar, which everybody knows Delamar. We've got Nyx 4, it looks like, which is another planet. And then down in here, super close, we got Nyx 2 and Nyx 1. My dog does not like Nyx 2 or 1. What you can do in this arc star map, which is really cool, is you can look at population graphs, right? So you can see where people are in the star system, but you can also look at economy graphs or threat level graphs. There's a lot of threat down inside of Nyx, mostly pirates. But if we back up to give you a sense of scale, let's go back to Stanton. Where are we? There we are. So if we go back to Stanton, and we turn on the threat level graph, that gives you an idea of Stanton is considered a lawful, dangerous system. And like, look at how much threat there is here, right? It's pretty crazy. And if you back out and you look at the economy, you kind of start to understand why. And then population, almost the same thing. So when you look at the Stanton system, this is kind of what they're going to base their quantum system off of, right? When they say that they're going to replicate the quantum system, even when they were showing it off last year, like, you could see actively the ships going to and from the different hubs, and you kind of get a sense of like, okay, so if there are people out here, then clearly crime is going to follow. And that's just happening all across the system, generally to and from different planets and to and from the jump points. And so I'm thinking what they're going to end up doing is replace this arc star map with actually a real-time map that reports the stats, almost like what you would see if you were looking at the quantum system, just not specifics. I think that'd be really cool. Let's look at another system. What's just somebody throw a system in chat you want to see. You guys want to check out well, let's see. I got some concept art here. Okay, let's look at Croshaw. Castle in the Goss system. Well, let's check out Goss. Where's Goss? Oh, Goss. Oh, God. Where you at? Centauri, Geon, Gladiator. Is there a Gladiator system? Okay, we haven't done a Geon system yet. Let's do that. Let's see what a Xion system looks like that is connected to a human system, yeah? So... this is Xeon system connected to the Baker human system. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 planets, 3 jump points, heavy economy, the following heavy crime, and heavy population. Looks like this is the main planet. And it's called, Palace? We'll just say Palace. A terrestrial world that the Xion have long used as a testbed for geohacking and terraforming technologies. Several parts of this planet are consumed in smoke, the result of an ongoing massive underground fire. An attempt to terraform this planet by a shady human terraforming team in 2530 resulted in first contact with the Xion. What are the chances that we just stumbled upon the first contact world? Like, we just randomly picked it. Of course, humans were trying to terraform. Another thing that's interesting to see with this map is that you can actually see the green zone. So they show you where habitable planets lie with the green or Goldilocks band around the star. Now let's go back. Let's go back and check out a Vandual system. All the way on the far side of human space. And you kind of, like, look at how many freaking systems humans have, right? Look at this. All over the place. We weren't even the first ones. We just took everything. Oh, and I'd like to add, on the other side of the Xion, which they never let us get access to, these are the known systems, right? There's a separate branch of systems out here, and they're called the Kurthak. You've never met them. We don't know anything about them, really. But they are at war with the Xion. And eventually, at some point, we'll probably meet them. So let's check out Orion. Vandual system. The Vandual are nomadic, in a way. So technically they don't really make any one planet their home. But this system is actually where we first met the Vandual, here on Armitage. This system was abandoned, actually. Everybody who was here either fled or was killed. But this is the first Vandual attack against humanity. Armitage had grown population and pastures capable of agricultural development prior to the attacks. Now the planet is a wasteland of abandoned human settlements and plains pockmarked by blast craters. You can actually see kind of what they plan on it looking like. Many of you may have seen this picture before. Ah, jeez. So the bombed out city, obviously, but still ships come and go, exploration and scavenging and all that jazz. And there's actually a ship shop down here as well, and a couple other things you can come visit. So if you ever want to, you can come to this place. It is a thing. Be more. Thank you for following, man. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. So that's Orion, and this is a Vandual controlled system because, well, it was the first place that they took. And you can see that they actually took a lot of our stuff. I mean, they pushed us all the way back to Vega. We were here on Orion. And they took all these systems. The ongoing war just has us trying to get them back. Wonder if we'll have to take a vote to side with the Xion or the Kurthak. Never heard of that before, so I don't know how it's spelled. Oh, you spelled it perfectly. The economy was modeled over EVE Online. Players mine asteroids, make ships, weapons, and modules from limited run blueprints that gathered from PvE missions. Yeah, so here's the Idris system. This is a pretty cool one. Single star, UEE. Like it has quite a few jump points. And generally when the planets are named, they're more interesting. They usually have people in them. So this one lying in the green zone, it looks like. Oh. Yeah, it's lying in that green zone. So it's probably the main planet here. It has made an impressive recovery in the centuries since this terraformed world still bears the orbital bombardment scars it earned during the first Tavaran War. Don't identify with the inner conflicts of the game. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot, I think. The lore team is pretty strong. They go pretty crazy with their stuff, so I have no doubt that there's gonna be quite a bit of interesting events going on. I mean, they've already mentioned just yesterday that they're gonna have live events constantly going in this game. Yeah. What do you say? Let me look up some more Astra. Yeah, let's go to the Castra system. Where is this? This system is... Oh, it's connected to Nyx. Okay, that's right. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. It's connected to Pyro 2 and Hadrian. So Castra is actually pretty important. It's got a really cool landing zone. Do not know what planet it's on. I guess it's on Cascum. Originally settled as a forward military base and training facility, it was cleared for civilian habitation. Yeah, so if you go online and you look up the landing zone, you'll see a city called the Castle in the Sky, because it's literally a military base on top of a mountain. And it's very kind of, I don't want to say brutalist. I don't remember what the architectural type is for this, but you could see it's like literally the landing zone is above the clouds. And it's very military based looking, even though this is a civilian population now. I'm wondering what they're going to do with this. I wonder if it's actually going to be on top of a mountain. That'd be really cool. Does anyone know what's up with the new Origin ground vehicles and also the bikes? The bikes, I guess, they need to make better paths on ground. Too much rocks. Yeah, so the Origin ground vehicles and bikes, they're kind of holding off, at least on hover bikes, until they get the atmospheric flight model working better. And then once they have the atmospheric flight model working better, they will go and work on the hover model. And then after that, I'm guessing they're going to figure out the rovers and everything. Just kind of leave it to be what it is for now, because it's passable, I guess. Imagine if they pull an Elite Dangerous and reveal one of the alien species just by putting them in the game quietly. I think we might see something like that. Maybe they'll announce it, but I think we'll start seeing alien encounters semi-randomly when the Krithak are brought into the game. What I hope they don't do with them is just kind of ignore them. Like Frontier did with the Thargoids. Centauri, okay. Let's see if we can find Centauri. I like to look for them manually. There it is. That was easy. Yeah, Squadron 42 is going to be pretty surprising. Holy crap, this thing is huge! Jeez, that sun is massive. So it looks like we got an Asteroid Belt. Centauri Belt Alpha, which means is there a beta or no? We've got a planet called Yar in the green zone. Gonna stop following leaks when the game is more complete. That might be tough. But I'll always include a disclaimer in my videos if I have leaks, so that you don't get them spoiled. With most of its surface covered by the arid red desert. Okay, dude. Ay. Sorry about that. The planet is a stark contrast to Saisei's natural and constructed. Oh, Saisei is here. Okay. Beauty. Most of the civilian settlements were abandoned once mineral resources were exhausted. Now the terraformed planets remain inhabited. Inhabitants reside mainly in research stations. So this isn't even the main system. I didn't realize Centauri was where Saisei is. Oh yeah, there it is. Cool. So threat level, this place is clean. So you'll have these systems where, like, well, I guess there's not much of an economy either, and not many people. Okay, never mind. I wasn't saying anything. Don't pay attention to me. I say it's gorgeous, and this is where Misk is, right? Governor's Council of Saisei enforces a population cap in order to protect the planet's carefully planned and cultivated environment. Businesses who wish to operate on world-like ship Misk, whose headquarters are in Fujin City, must adhere to strict environmental regulations. Yeah, Misk is so much more technologically advanced than people know. Whoops. I say this place is gorgeous. I don't know how they're gonna do this one. I don't know how they're gonna do this one. This is gonna be an interesting one. Maybe I should audition for voice acting in SC. I would love to. Put me in SC. Make me a mission giver. That'd be awesome. Did you talk about the Vandual mask thing while I was gone? I haven't talked about that. I haven't really. We are gonna do. Let's see, which one is the? What do you have to do for the Vandual mask? Is that the one you have to kill people? We're gonna have a stream coming up here. Let me actually look at my schedule real quick. If you'd like to see what our stream schedule is, it is on Discord. On Monday, we will be doing a community stream, a convoy to Benihenge. Get one of the new helmets if anybody would like to join. But as for the helmet competition for the Vandual ones, I don't know about that. Most locations are going to deviate wildly from their concept art, probably. Hardcorp is likely to change a lot from how it looks today too. Yeah, so I have a video coming out on Wednesday that talks about planet art, planet tech, and what they're going to do in the future. I have this concept art here. Give me 1 second, I'll pull it up for you. It's of Hardcorp, and it's of, I think, something that they're going to start, not this exact thing, but I think they will start to look towards doing some stuff like this. So this is Hardcorp, right? This is concept art. Obviously this is not what it looks like, but I think as they start to develop their planet tech more and are able to go back to places like Hardcorp, they're gonna be able to create more features like this. I mean, look at this. This is massive. You can see the little buildings over here, right? So these are huge. And you can see the city over here. I think they're gonna start to do stuff kind of like this. Water features and large mechanical features that resemble mountains. So I would keep an eye out. I think while the concept art won't exactly be what they're gonna go for to the point, I do think they're gonna use it to influence what the city looks like. I mean, if you look at, say, the Microtech concept art, let me see if I have that. No. Have their early sketches of it, but not. Oh, yeah, here we go. So, like the Microtech concept art. Oh, no, that's. Yes, there we go. No, you guys can't see that. Oh, that's so annoying. let me pull it up in Chrome. So if you look at the Microtech concept art, like, it does not look like this, but it kind of does, right? Like, you still got your space thing, spaceport over here on the side of a mountain. You've got your 4 big bubble things that kind of make up the commons. You've got your big hero building, which is where the residences are. What you don't have is like this over here in the water, or this like second part of the city over here on the, so like it's not as dramatic. Like, there aren't mountains bordering on a frozen lake with water in it and all that jazz, but like, it's definitely, you can tell it's New Babbage. So I do think that like some of these other crazy concept arts that we're looking at, I think we will see them in game. Not to that extent, but like something like that. Do you know if Pyro is planned to have more exotic moons or planets, or just more of the ones we have now, but maybe different color and composition? It is planned to have more exotic moons and planets, but when we first get them, I don't think they will be. They've talked about how they do want to do things like running lava, volcanoes, and stuff like that, but liquids in the current planet editor are incredibly difficult. So they're not really gonna have that yet. But it's definitely, it's part of what they're gonna do. And this is something I say in the video, but like the things that they're gonna do in the future with planets, as they keep going, they're gonna add more to the Planet Tech, right? Planet Tech V4 is the baseline for the game moving forward, but they want to do a lot more. And when they do all of that stuff, they're gonna come back to the old planets and add to those. We've seen it already with like when they're building the Pyro system with the new paint tools, they've come back to the Stanton system and done that. When they've created the new height maps, they've come back to all the other places and done all that stuff. When they got Planet Tech, I think it was maybe V3 with Microtech, they came back to Daymar and like Hurston's moons and redid all of that stuff. So the Pyro moons and planets are definitely going to be more exotic. As for right now though, I think it's mainly just going to be new textures, new colors, and new environment overall. I don't think we're going to see things like, you know, molten lava or smoke billowing out of the ground or anything too crazy like that. We might see smoke coming out of the ground, but for now, I just wouldn't expect anything too crazy. Now, what was the other system you wanted to do? You said Centauri and a couple other ones, right? Remind me. Any thoughts on Zen 3 and the AMD new GPU NVIDIA 3070 and how it will work with SC? Also Vulkan Tech. I actually haven't looked at the new AMD stuff. Yeah, I'm not technically inclined enough to give you a solid answer on that, although I would say that the Vulkan and system and the that's the name of their rover. That new rendering system they're working on, I think, is going to make it way easier to work with all kinds of technology and even run on Linux. Banshee and Tamza. Okay. Go to Banshee. Banshee. In Virgil, Kronos, Brenna, Genesis, Charon, Banshee. There we are. Ooh, there's a lot of freaking jump points in Banshee, huh? Holy crap, the size of it is 56 AU. Wow, this is a big system. I think this is only 95 of the systems, but yeah, we're kind of going through the different systems that they're going to have in the game. Okay, Zentrify, we'll do Hades. We'll do Hades, don't worry. This system is, oh my gosh, this system is so big. Holy crap. Banshee 4 out here like, don't fling me away, please. I'm still part of the club. An ice giant. I wonder why. neutron star. What do we think? 135 or the 125? I like the 135, man. I love the 135. Still rocking an i5 3570K with a 1070 and 16 gigs of RAM DDR3. Not bothering to upgrade till DDR5 and PCIe 5.0. I feel you. I had to upgrade because of the whole streaming thing, but I cannot wait to... upgrade my stuff to something. I have to upgrade on a budget because I don't make that much money right now. I had to upgrade basically to the bare minimum I could get my stream to run well. I cannot wait to get, like, I'm running on DDR4 RAM and it's at like 2600 what is it, megabits per second or something. Like, I'm not even running 3600. I can't wait to upgrade that. And yeah, I'll be excited for that. Banshee's freaking huge. Lorona. A network of underground settlements were built beneath the barren planet's surface to mine Lorona's abundant mineral resources, while avoiding the harsh radiation from the system's pulsar. Massive magnetic coils on the surface harvest energy from the star to power the cities and mining operations. That's pretty cool. I want to see massive magnetic coils. I like to barely notice upgrades. Yeah, man, I feel you there. I cannot wait to jump. I'm going from a 1080 Ti to a 3080. I want to get a 3080. We'll see if I can make enough to get that, but I want to get a 3080 so that I can, you know, stream stuff at high quality. I'm gonna get Cyberpunk, and I would love to be able to play that at 1440p while still streaming at 1080p, but we will see. All right, Hades, Zentrify said. Unclaimed system. Got several planets, at least 4. Freaking look at how far out that jump point is. Holy crap. Why even be here, dude? Just leave. Got a pretty wide green band. We're looking at the Hades 2, 3. Habitable, no. Scattered Hadesian cities cover this planet. Now that brings up a cool topic, right? What are they going to do about exterminated or extinct species? Because we know that there are a couple different species that, like, don't either exterminated or extinct species, but also species that aren't spacefaring. I wonder what's going to happen there. The Hades lore is really interesting. Why is that? Oh, I know all about Castle. That's that thumbnail, right? Habitable, no. Smog planet. Dang it. Wolf. 84. Habitable, no. Terrestrial, rocky. It's the famous half planet. This world was split in 2 distinct halves by a mysterious force. Dude, see, the lore behind these planets. Oh, the ghosts. Right. Yeah. Okay. I remember hearing about that. What was the system that got cut off? And, like, they never... The ship that was in it never... Or no, it's still not connected, right? So we don't know what happened to the humans in that system. Yeah, Jasper, I believe that's kind of part of the politics. Like, do we want to allow people to interfere with people that aren't spacefaring? I think that's supposed to be a pretty big topic. Let's go to Cano. Actually, let's look for, you said Tanis, right? Oberon, Centauri, Callus, O'Hill. Oh yeah. Helios, Genesis, Gliese, Oral, Geddon, Bacchus. Goodness. Oratani was the collapsed jump point. Yeah, I think that's gonna be so. There's so much, like, such good freaking lore. I said it again. Strike me down. There's so much good lore in this game that's gonna be so excited to explore when they, if they ever get around to it. Oh, it's a black hole. Okay, cool. Well, that's exciting. Who wants to come here? And there's just nothing else. Very cool, very cool. Super exciting. Good destination. A good place for a vacation, yeah. Cool. Well, there goes one of your 100 systems right there. Easy to make, right? Something about Cabal system. I know Cabal system for something. I always wonder how big these asteroid clusters are going to be. It's got 3 planets, 2 in the green band, and habitable. A naturally occurring oxygen atmosphere, terrestrial Earth analog. UEE surveyors were stunned to find abandoned Tavaran cities on the planet. A further investigation of the planet by UEE Marines revealed a cache of Tavaran weapons and war machines. That's right, the Tavaran used to live here. This is where Esperia got their blueprints to build the Talon and the Prowler. Rumors claim some of the weapons found contains technology made within the last 10 years. Due to these circumstances, the Cabal system remains inaccessible to citizens and civilians. So that means everybody wants to go there, right? I know you guys are gonna come here because we're not allowed to. Terrestrial Mars-like desert planet. Strong candidate for terraform. Cool, cool, cool. Wonder if that means we might see the terraforming happen during the game's playtime. Let's look a little closer to home, shall we? Rosha, I believe, was the second system, the first system to ever be found. Angeli was the first planet, was the planet with the first city outside of Sol. Yep, the first planet terraformed and colonized by humans in another star system. Angeli unfortunately suffers from heightened tectonic activity. Geologists theorize that there will be a devastating earthquake in its future. Nestled between mountains and sea, Angeli's city of Quinton features one of the most iconic skylines in the UEE. You want to see what that skyline looks like? It's actually really lackluster. Yeah, there it is, everybody. The most iconic skyline in all the UEE. I'm sure they'll do something special with it in the game, because like this doesn't really look like much, but Cabal. Coincidence? I think not. And then it's got a couple other cities. It's got Van. Van has a really cool city in it. Slightly smaller than Earth, Van sits on the edge of Crowshaw's green band and is perpetually cold. Its population dropped once more systems were discovered, but many people, especially those who enjoy the cold, still call it home. This one actually has a really cool... I like the concept art for this one. Got like a really cool vibe to it. I always thought these were clouds in between like the mountains here, the city, and then I realized that it's just snow. Want to see what your system is made of? Run Flight Simulator 2020. My i5 is screaming bloody murder. I think I should be able to run it. It can't be worse than running Star Citizen, right? Running Star Citizen while streaming and recording. That's not fun. My processor does not like that. I max out. Alrighty. What is something closer to Stanton? Because we want to see where we're gonna go next, right? Let's look at Terra. If they were to go to Terra, they would have to make one Terra Prime, which has one landing zone, the pinnacle of human environmental design, which means it's going to be freaking difficult to make, a space station in orbit, a moon in orbit, another space station in orbit, opportunity with a moon in orbit, like 2 moons in orbit actually, another planet. The lack of an atmosphere hasn't stopped industrial magnates from descending on the vast mineral resources of this terrestrial planet. Thousands of mining operations are in near constant operation to help fulfill resource requirements for the system. And it looks like, is this another planet or a moon? A planet, this is a moon, okay. Tidally locked to the far side of the moon, features heavy scarring from frequent impacts. I am running an i7, 9700K. FS Khan, thank you for the kind words, friend. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. So that's one planet with 2 moon, or 1 moon, 2 space stations, another planet with 2 moons, another planet with 1 moon, another, it looks like inhabited planet. Yep, habitable. It's got another space station, terraformed super Earth, and it's responsible for overseeing diplomatic missions and military deployments for this and surrounding systems. So that sounds like a lot of infrastructure. Asteroid Belt. This is a hell of a system, especially considering how big a deal Terra 1 is going to be. Whatever Terra that was. Terra 3, Terra 2. I think they've added a lot more moons and space stations to Terra since the last time you've been to the star map. Really? I certainly do not remember these 2 space stations in orbit over the planet. I wonder if they're filling it out in preparation. That's a really interesting observation. They have been adding stuff in the background that can either be because they're filling out the Galactopedia, or because they're getting everything set up for Terra. They've also mentioned Terra armor. So they are at least planning to have Terra themed objects in the game soon. Love my content. You're a big inspiration for your own channel. Tuning in for a while as a buddy and I play some Warhammer. Hey man, thank you. I'm glad you have enjoyed the content, and you're the first person to say I've inspired you to make your own content. That's really cool, man. Thank you. Hope you enjoy. We're just having a really chill time talking about some planets and stuff. With the content, Tomato. Thank you. People stealing my channel ideas? Hey man, I got a lot of ideas up here. I'm an ideas guy. I love to give people more stuff to make content about. Honestly, I wish I could make content for all the ideas I have. I have to really pick and choose. Someday I'm gonna make enough money to get an editor, and then you guys are in for it. I'm gonna be pumping out those videos. What do I expect the mystery armor to be? I mentioned in my monthly report that I think there's a pretty good chance it could be the Titan armor. I don't understand why they would put the Titan in Star Citizen yet, but the signs are kind of pointing to it, right? So we've got like a leaked vocal, we got a leaked voice clip talking about Titans. It's on the Squadron 42 roadmap to be finished this quarter, and it is a very difficult armor to make because of the moving parts and variations, which is again another thing that they put in the monthly report. So Those are like three fairly good distinctions to make it sound like it's the Titan armor, but also, you know, there's other possibilities. It could be some special transforming armor, a moving helmet. It could be medical armor, although I think since Chris said they'll be doing that mid next year, they'll probably wait to do all of that at the same time. Yeah, the Titan armor set is pretty. People were very excited about it. Of course. This bad boy. Okay. Go. There we go. This thing reminds me a lot of kind of you guys seen the Halo Legends video? There's an animated series that follows Halo lore, and there's an ammo or a armor suit in that people are like fighting with, and it reminds me so much of this. There it is. Doesn't that look kind of like it? It's like a big Halo Mjolnir. That versus that, they're like kind of similar. Yeah, it's kind of 40k. But that's kind of what this armor reminds me of. And I feel that it very well could be that is what they're working on right now. Astartes, is that the thing that was on the corridor crew or whatever it's called when they were looking at SFX and they were looking at the good and bad SFX? Because I saw that and yeah, that is exactly what it is. I was like, holy crap, that looks really cool. I'll have to watch that at some point. I've never been into 40k, but I kind of want to get into it. Selling ideas, that would be cool, but I don't know how I could do that. Loki disappointed that you know what would be cool is starting to leak into Star Citizen, best damn space sim ever. Hasn't this game always been about, you know, what would be cool? I feel like that was that's how it started. Chris was just sitting in his living room one day. It's like, you know what would be cool is if I did freelancer again, but made it way better. Baker. Oh, we got that freaking, what do they call this? What do they call this? A dual star system or something? What's the name? How do I refer to this? Binary, that's right, a binary star system. Wow, is there a lot going on here? No. Oh, there's a lot of money moving though. There's a lot of money moving around Baker 3. What's here? Space station operated by Kovalic Shipping. The Xenia station not only serves as a major cargo transfer hub for goods heading throughout the Empire, but also houses most of the permanent population in the Baker system. That would be why then there's so much money there. All of the people live there. Just need CR to scrap all Origin ships. But Drazen, if Origin wasn't there, how would you know that Drake is so bad? You'd have nothing to compare it to. Original patch was accurate simulation focus, and that's what hooked me. What I mean is stuff that you wouldn't actually feasibly see produced in 900 years, like Titan suits. Yeah, but you're just gonna have to be okay with it. I think nothing is ever gonna, like, every project that I've ever been interested in always has a ton of stuff that I don't really like. Mass Effect, while I freaking loved that game, I kind of hated that it was third person, and I wish it was first person, which is a huge part of a game. But I was like, okay, I'll get over it. Like, I still love the lore, the story, the character focus, the conversation style. Deus Ex, I did not like that it wasn't like a full-on RPG and more like a sim, but it was cyberpunk and I loved it. there's a lot of things that, like, you know, you can't like everything about a project. I'll say that much. And Baker have their Marine training base. Your heart is objective, Chrono. What are you? Are you a Drake fanboy too? Do you and Drazen get together every Saturday and talk crap about all the other manufacturers? Or is it just Origin? You just talk crap about Origin. Does it have a... I don't see any military bases. What music is this? Ah, this is from Miguel. Very dark. Let's listen to Serenity. This is like one of my favorite songs in Star Citizen. Love this song. Killian system. Let's go check out the Killian system then. Oh, Killian. Sorry, my UI was acting up. Oh, okay. But it's still acting up. Are there still Tavaran alive today in Star Citizen lore? If so, do they still have some places in the universe where they live, perhaps even in towns or cities with their own cultural design? So yes, there are Tavaran alive. Yes, there are still places where they live, but most of them have been integrated into the UEE. Most Tavaran work and live with humans now and are generally pretty commonly seen, but there's some lore that I haven't been able to find. I read it like 4 years ago and I've never found it since. There are still planets where Tavaran can go and take part in their own cultural rituals that they used to do as a separate species, and I'm guessing that we will be able to go to those locations and like be like, yo, they probably hate us for it, but you can do that and go see them in their element. Who knows if that will be in the game, but at least in lore that's still a thing. You will have the RSI Polaris, the Anvil Valkyrie, the Aegis Gladius, and the Drake Corsair. Maybe one or two other small Aegis Anvil ships, but no Origin. Hey man, I'm all good with that. I will probably be all Crusader, Origin, and Aegis, I think. No, and Consolidated Outland. Those are like my main two are Crusader and Consolidated. And Origin is kind of like my close third, but they've lost me with the 300 and the 600. The 100 kind of got me liking them again a little bit, but I feel like Origin is a little scatterbrained right now. Engineering minded, fix it myself sort of person, so I like Drake. Don't waste money on covering up components with wood and marble. It's just in the way when anything goes wrong. So you say that, but as an engineer, I really like the more polished companies. I feel like they do a lot more. Like MISC, holy crap, from an engineering mindset, MISC is so incredibly interesting. And Argo is actually really interesting also from an engineering mindset. You know, Argo started out as a freaking train manufacturer. Like, Argo started because the woman who started it wanted to fix a train system that nobody else would fix on Earth. Only Origin ship you got was a 125 and 135 because you're still deciding between them. I really like the 135. I think that's going to be my personal courier going forward for a long time. Unless Crusader makes a single-seater. Take the 135C to use as a runabout and as a Carrack snub with extra cargo. Yeah, RK, I'm right on board with you. The 135C I think is an amazing... I'm going to do a video comparing it with the Pisces. I think the Pisces is going to win, but subjectively speaking, the 135 is way better. Yeah, that's right. There's a Tavaran Senator. Crusader, Origin, and MISC are your big three. That's a good trio. I think MISC doesn't get as much love as it deserves. We definitely need more consolidated ships, though. You're right. They're a really new company, though. I believe they are in lore like 14 years old. So it makes sense that they don't have many ships, but I'm staying by my word. What I predicted earlier this year, I do think Consolidated Outland is going to have a new ship coming out. I'm really hoping it's that refinery ship, or else I'm going to have to make a video admitting that I was wrong. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, launched in 2947. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the Pioneer. So intense. They don't have the date of founding here. At age 16, he invested half his fortune. Started it, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. There it is, 28. No, okay, they're pretty old. They're like 50 years old. That's actually not. That's old enough to have a couple more ships, right? I think there's another company that I want to say is pretty close to that. Asperia? I think Asperia is around that age. And they have plenty of ships, though they have, you know, designs and blueprints to go off of. I think Asperia is only like 50 years older than that. Yeah, 2873. So they're only 27 years older than Consolidated, and they have, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ships. Consolidated has 2, if you don't count the variants. So I think maybe we could see another one from Consolidated. I think the refinery ship could be really good. I'll call you when my origin ship is in trouble. Yeah, no worries. When I break down in my nice ship, I'll make sure to call you to come give me gas, you peasant. Why 100 series over the 300 series? I didn't say that. I have a 325. Personally, though, I do like the 100 series more just because it's smaller, it feels more compact and personal, it's lower to the ground, it's sleeker in design. I think it just looks way better. I like small cars, I like small ships. It also fits in the Carrack, yeah. There's a video someone made a few years ago, a built Ford Tough parody back of an Argo MPUV ramming a space station at full speed and just bouncing off. That's funny. I like the MISC ads, and they're kind of like more sort of like Ford American pickup truck country style ads. Those are funny. 100 series is more compact and have good fuel. Yeah, the 100 series, yeah, also has a refinery system inside of it, which is good for traveling. And the 135, I think, picks up as much as the 325. What do you mean barely sleek? The 100 series is super sleek. Like, I'm pretty sure the only sleeker ships than the 100 series are other Origin ships, right? Or is it the Aurora? Is Aurora the pinnacle of sleekness? Where's Bremen? There we are. Consolidated's home system. Guessing they're on this planet. Sparsely populated with a few settlements and mid-sized cities, the traditionally agrarian... I like how they say sparsely populated and they say a few mid-sized cities. Like, what does that make Hurston? Retiff has seen a recent economical refocusing on tech and industrial sectors with the establishment of Consolidated Outland's headquarters in Stalford. Cool. Hey everyone, please check the new video. Landing gear. I have to stream the new video? Why? The one community video? This one? Or did they put something else out? The briefing room? Oh. The one community video. All right, we can watch it. Argo Mole is cool. I'll give you that. Give the Reclaimer a different paint job and it's pretty sleek. All right, let's check it out then. If we'll see what that is. We'll watch this video and then I think probably go ahead and head off. We did a little bit of talking about these systems and looking at the planets. I think we could do probably something deeper, maybe talk about more of the lore behind the landing zones and stuff like that. But this is a really good, I like this. This was cool, guys. This is the first YouTube stream. I like the YouTube system. I like the interface they have set up. I think I'm going to start doing the occasional YouTube stream every couple of weeks, just to kind of build into it, and slowly start to turn from Twitch to YouTube. Not super quick, over the course of probably like 6 months maybe, or maybe I'll keep doing both. But I do like YouTube. A lot more of you guys are here, and I also save all my streams right here on the channel, so this is pretty cool, and I do enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And I gotta mention, if you do become a channel member, I did mention in my previous video, you can do it I think for as low as $2 a month. But I will start doing supporter specific streams, so Q&As with my supporters, whether you're on Patreon, Twitch, or here on YouTube. But anywhere you want to sign up, I'll start doing specific streams for you guys. You also get early videos and you get exclusive cinematics that I like to make. All the cinematics I make, not all of them, probably like 60% of the cinematics I make, I actually have extended versions on my YouTube channel that are unlisted for anybody but supporters. So if you'd like to also get that whenever I make ship cinematics, which I am working on a 100i cinematic right now, you can always check those out as well. Now let's go ahead and see this community video. And again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out here on YouTube. Is it more profitable for me if you sub here instead of Twitch? Yeah, I actually get more money here. Twitch takes 50%, I believe. YouTube takes only 30%. Is very interesting, but yeah, that's always up to you guys. Thanks everybody for watching and hanging out. We'll do this again. Let me know. Leave comments in the video after I'm done. Hit me up on Discord, mention it on Twitter, wherever you want. But let me know what you thought of this YouTube stream and if you'd like to do them more in the future. Now let's watch this video.
Are the type of moments I want to be a part of in Star Citizen, coming together as a group and completing a task that feels just truly epic.
Star Citizen is an opportunity to explore, to connect with people,
making the impossible possible.
That was a lot of patches.
It's passion, it's creativity, relationships, friends
that become family,
friends who fly spaceships. It is amazing the quality of people that are involved in this project.
It is that human connection that you're doing with other players, interacting with.
Hey,
I think that it's special.
Is that a streamer?
Do crazy stuff with other people that maybe you won't be able to do otherwise.
I haven't seen him stream before.
The VIP is secure.
I have had so much fun in game and out.
Momenti memorabili in gioco ce ne sono stati tantissimi.
That I will remember 10 years from now playing this.
Mon premier pas sur Démarre, mon premier pas sur Hearthstone.
Beating out most of QA and Pirate Storm when they thought I was just a lowly office manager.
We realized after 2 hours that we had spent a long time shopping for clothing.
I tend to blow up my org mates, not on purpose.
Nein, ich habe meinen Ehemann in die Luft gesprengt.
It was totally worth it.
You have angered the swarm.
Undergunned and being chased by a horde of Arlington goons. And as we jump out of the Retaliator, we look back and the ship explodes.
Stayed out there, opened up chat and said, help, I've just lost myself in the LA Asteroid Belt.
People stop what they're doing and they help a stranded player.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm in your ship! Where else does that happen?
Completing the jump a third time at the 2018 CitizenCon.
It's Glenn!
See me, like,
it's Glenn!
sort of cringe up because it was so loud.
And everyone was so excited and still hyped by the event. Everybody started dancing and we had a fantastic dance party with the backers, with the community.
Ich habe sogar meine heutige Lebensgefährtin auf einem Star Citizen Event kennengelernt.
Logramos llevar una camiseta de nuestra organización, poder regalársela a Chris Roberts.
I have to say that the community constantly surprises me. Combination of meeting the friends, playing together, but also sort of sharing a dream together and sharing ideas and thoughts, and the energy and the excitement of it's brilliant. And because of their contributions, it becomes better than I imagined it. That's when I go, wow, okay, that is awesome.
For a lot of people in the community, this isn't just a game.
It's a very big part of my life.
Changed my life meeting so many other space nerds.
Oh, it means so much.
I made so many meaningful connections with people who I otherwise probably never would have met.
Transcends languages, locations, areas. You got people all over the globe.
You're a part of something so much larger than yourself.
Where not only the fans are friends, but the developers are as well.
And there's so much enthusiasm and positivity brought by the fans.
Who is so selfless with their time and is always willing to like help out new players and give back, just coming from like a genuine love of the game.
And I'm proud to be part of it.
Penso sempre a tutto il lavoro che c'è dietro.
I'm a part of the process.
There's something really nice about having that connection.
It gives me a lot of energy to do the best job that I can.
All these people are just rooting for you to succeed.
These people that have entrusted you to execute, on their dream.
The dream is a reality.
Building a universe isn't necessarily it's not a small thing to take on. It's some people would say perhaps you should start smaller, but we didn't. So there you go.
Thank you to all you guys, because you guys make all of this possible.
Incredibly thankful and grateful. We definitely could not be where we are without the community, which is amazing. And for me, it is the best community in gaming.
Happy birthday, Star Citizen.
Happy birthday. Feliz cumpleaños.
Happy birthday.
Best and biggest gaming project out there in the world.
生日快乐，星际公民。
You don't look a day over 6 years old.
See you in the verse.
I've made a lot of friends gaming through the years, but it really pales in comparison to the sheer number of friendships I've enjoyed as a Star Citizen backer, and for that I feel truly blessed. So, happy birthday, Star Citizen.
Little hat tip. That was cool. Captain Wickstrom. Very sad story. That was cool though. Alright guys, thank you so much. Jasper, hey man, thanks for becoming a member here on the channel. You get emotes and stuff now. And also like videos and things. So hope you enjoy those perks. Guys, thanks again for hanging out and jumping onto my first YouTube stream. I will be streaming again on Monday over on Twitch. Okay, no, stop that. I'll be streaming again over on Twitch on Monday, so make sure to come check that out, guys. And with that, I'll see you all later. Oh.